Welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2 with CasualT Gaming. For those of you who are looking at Lowell right now, it might look a little different to you, and it should. Lowell, as well as Inglewood, received some significant upgrades during my last gameplay session. Unfortunately, the footage of which was lost to time. So I lost about 45 minutes to an hour's worth of gameplay, during which time we made some significant changes to these two cities. So I'm going to do a quick recap for you. We changed Lowell from buses to trams, and we instituted two tram lines, a north-south line and a east-west line, and we moved the stop over to here to cover this growing section of the city. We have a train line now that brings both food and fuel from Inglewood up to Lowell. We've added a few trains on our oil line, and we have split it up so that we now have two trains running from this oil well up to the refinery, one train running from this oil well to Inglewood dropping off the refined oil, and then two trains running from Inglewood over to this fuel refinery, dropping off the refined oil and picking up the fuel. And that, I think, was the last change we made, and so this is a little bit behind schedule right now with comparison of, refined oil coming from Inglewood to be dropped off over here. And one of the things of doing this is I'm going to change it so that at Upper Inglewood, they will wait for up to a minute, and that will give the refinery a chance to process some of that oil that's coming back. And this seems to be working pretty well. We still have our food train, which is now not really food, it's food and fuel, going north. We still have mineral fillet full of food, which is a bit of a bummer for me because this food processing plant is getting all of the grain it needs and then some, but it can't seem to figure out that we need more supply to the train station. And I'm really not sure how to get it to think about more supply to the train station. Anyway, those are the big changes that we've made. So now Inglewood is up to 428, but with poor emissions because all of our activity is right here in the central residential area. All of the commercial and industrial buildings are to the north, and unfortunately all of our supply area is to the south. I apologize. I am still trying to kick this cold. It is really lingering and it's really bothering me, but it is something that I'm hoping will be gone soon. We also have this opportunity here, I think, where I may change the route of the tram here in New Orleans. The reason being that it spends a lot of time on this road where it's also got the delivery vehicles. And I would like to avoid having them on the same road as much as possible. So let's do that as our first task for today of building a electric street out this way. Let's see if it'll let me do it this way. Nope, doesn't want to let me do it either way. Force this tram to go all the way around. And it does. And it encircles all of New Orleans, which hopefully we can start growing soon. We are going to do two things. One is we're going to start shipping some fuel down here now that we've got a good fuel production system. We have the food ship again that can carry both, so that'll be something we want to take advantage of. And we've got our passenger line, which is running nicely as well. From here, though, I think we need to look at where do we expand our passenger lines. And I think, had previously discussed expanding out towards Colorado Springs with passenger service, because right now Colorado Springs can only connect to New Orleans. And while that's good, and we are able to bring people through our ship over here this way, I don't think it's the best use of our resources. Alternatively, we could look at expanding St. Paul down to Vegas, Vegas over to Lowell, in which case we would now hook up all 5 cities on this eastern edge of the map. And that could be done. It would be a little bit tricky with this train station location because of the way that we've got it oriented right now, where all of our passenger service is on the western side of the map, and we would not have any way to send traffic across the map to the western side without crossing over a number of these other lines. So what is our best alternative? I think our best alternative may be to try and take advantage of this tram line, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. I'm really not 100% sure what's the best way to try and link up these two. What we may do is actually make it a country road, but a large country road with a 62 mile an hour, and just connect it via bus service. I think that's what we're going to start with. And so we'll put in a bus stop over here, and I guess what we will call downtown Vegas. It covers the vast majority of the city, but I don't want it to have as much emissions going that way. So I'm going to try and put it right here. And we will have this Vegas line that'll drop off to here. So this will be Inglewood LV bus. And let's change the color to make it a little bit more distinct. And that didn't work. There we go. So what kind of buses can we get? Alright, our buses kind of cap out at a very low passenger and speed rating. So let's go ahead and pick up 3 of these. And I do not have a stop on both sides, so what we'll do is we'll do that, and then that way the bus and the tram don't have to use the same terminal. Perfect. All right, let's let that run. And while that's running, let's think about how we can get Vegas what it wants. Well, we know Vegas wants fuel, so that's something we can bring over, splitting off of our existing infrastructure right here. Because we can have this train that runs back and forth right now bring fuel to this station, and then from this station we can have a line running over to Las Vegas. And obviously these trains can get significantly larger because we made the stations much larger to accommodate that. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out if we are... No? Okay, so we're still not bringing over as much. Okay, so this was a mistake to have the trains wait because they are now bogging each other down. That was a mistake. We should have the trains come in and get out as quickly as possible because we want them to bring as much of the fuel, refined oil, to the fuel depot. And in fact, we may even want a third train on this line. Okay, so let's do that, and that way we can get as much fuel from here as possible. Alright, let's see how our buses are doing. Full, full, and full. That's a great sign. So let us plan on putting a train station kind of vertically over here, and it will be a... Well, let's see. What does Vegas want? Vegas wants fuel, tools, machines, and goods. And what does St. Paul want? St. Paul wants food, which is getting fuel, which it's not. Machines and goods. So there are definitely overlaps. Goods here. Theoretically, we can run some sort of additional train over here and take that over to here, but no good way of making steel anywhere nearby. Oh, we got steel down here, and it can go straight up this way. Or actually, both of them can go this way around the outside of Las Vegas. Alright, we may have our new task. We're going to have everything be to this side of Las Vegas. And it'll be a massive train station because it's going to be bringing in a lot of stuff. So we'll have fuel coming in, so that's one. We'll have oil, potentially. Oil going to there. That's 2 and 3. Steel going up, that's 4. Well, and then, yeah, 4. So let's make this at least 4 wide. And then we will also need to obviously bring in passenger rail service, even though this is a bit outside of town. But let's go ahead and get started with that. And make sure we don't forget to So the first thing we're going to deal with, I know we said passengers. Alright. St. Paul similarly is going to get a large train station over here along the water, but it will be a terminus, and then we'll add on the passenger platform. Oh, and we can do that actually very easily, one on each side. We'll start with the one on this side going to Vegas. And this is going to be one heck of a track. And we are going to need to make sure we leave room for multiple lines. And I think we might want to go around the outside. Oh, I didn't realize I dug into the countryside quite that much. I would have tried to see if there was a less expensive way of doing that. Okay. So passenger line. Oop. Clicked it during an autosave. From here to here. So this is LV to St. Paul Packs. And we need to add a passenger building to this station to make it nice and grand. And then we need a way for people to get to it. Which means we're going to start with the tram. And we'll do a route like that. And then I think what we'll do is we'll just upgrade like that and put in a tram stop or a tram station. Sorry, tram depot, that's the word I'm looking for. And this is the LV tram. And we'll start with a nice simple one. Yeah, I forgot to make that electric. Oops. And I doubt anybody's going to take that right now because there's not even anywhere to go. Similarly, over here, we need to configure this one. Ooh, faster bus. Let's go to our bus line. $31 miles an hour, and they carry more people. Yes, please. Beautiful. All right, tram depot. Right here will be fine because we'll have a road depot here as well. And where are we going to make our stops? Well, definitely want to cover this area and this area. I covered everyone already. And this is the St. Paul tram. And we're going to even call it the counterclockwise tram because we're probably going to have another one. Let's get them 4 of those. St. Paul is a larger town. And then I think the last thing we're going to do up here is we're going to put our train depot up here. kind of off to the side. And kind of link it in like that. And make that a double slit. So now we need to buy a passenger train. Our BC4 holds 20 people and does 75 miles an hour. Let's take 80. And we have our Flying Scotsman. That's a nice train, and I think I will have it. And I will buy 2 of those for the Las Vegas passenger line. So hopefully we will start having people want to take this thing. Oh dear, we have horse-drawn carriages still. Yeah, that's not gonna work. They have lower emissions, but they're slow and they don't carry very much. And I'd be willing to bet then that, nope, these are already vehicles. And we're just producing as fast as we can. But these vehicles don't have to be quiet, and they can do the one that carries 14. And we've got our first passengers waiting. Nobody on that one, but we should have a passenger waiting for this one. 2. Alright, it's a start. Let's make sure we have tram stop on both sides. The bus is significantly more popular than the train is. Which is okay. I mean, it's early still. Covers most of the city, but not all of it. What route are you taking? Oh, because you want to spin all the way around first. I see. Well, we'll work on that. Our train is picking up passengers. That's wonderful. And then we're going to need to start deciding on how we're going to do our cargo lines.